Welcome back to Realms of Far Off, everybody. I am Wade, and I am here with my friends playing Clicky Clacky Math Rocks as we get through these tough times together. We have an extreme combat that is going on right now across our screen, as you can see. Oh, our cameras are screwed up. Give me 1 second. There. Put that there. Oh, switch you. There and there. There. Why are those screens so weird? Try that. Apologize, everyone. We got a weird camera thing going on. Hold on 1 second. There we go. All right, fixed. Fuck it. All right. So as we left off last session, there was a ton of combat going on. Our heroes found themselves being invaded by an underground force of drow, troglodytes, hook horrors that just came up after an earthquake had been rended across this noble gala. There are quite a few people dead at this stage. Very few of the assaulters have been put down at this point. I believe only one, maybe two of them are dead at this stage. We have had a key magical force in the form of Warden Dunkel, who kind of kickstarted all of this by casting the earthquake spell, and then a new Dunkel showing up and getting rid of the old Dunkel. So what Dunkel is it now? We're on a third Dunkel. What could that mean for everybody at this stage? So before we get started, two quick announcements. Number one, we are still running the cancer research donation drive for the month of April. This will be the last session for it. So if anyone is feeling in their heart to help us kick cancer's ass and do some research, please feel free to donate. There's still things to unlock through that donation drive. Every little bit helps. And number two, if you are one of our subscribers on Twitch, remember to use your sub perks to give luck coins and inspo. Directions will be in the chat for you to utilize those abilities. Or if you're feeling dicey, you can still make this combat extra spicy for our adventurers by doing a monster surge at any time. All right, let's jump into it, everybody. So last we left off, we had hit the top of the round. The new Dunkel had come onto the scene right here.
And we are missing from the initiative.
Oh, are you?
I think your little beastie guy at an 18 is supposed to be me, actually.
No, there's two. There's you and him. I'm seeing you on mine. Let me play around with this real fast. Descending. Are you seeing yourself now?
Nope.
Okay. Do me a favor. Roll new initiative, and I'll put the initiative back in there for you.
I have a theory for the class.
Yeah.
I believe that all of the Lord Dunkels are akin to the same way that they do Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny in Pokemon, and that every city has an Uncle Dunkel or Mr. Dunkel, whatever.
Uncle Dunkel.
Yeah, I'm going with that one.
Thank you.
What are you doing, Step Dunkel?
Oh, Jesus. All right, we've got that taken care of. All right, so top of the initiative, Fee, what would you like to do?
All right, so the Crocagator is going to take a bite at the guy right in front of her.
Okay.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Unfortunately, your clamping jaws do not find purchase on this troglodyte as his body squiggles and squirms out of your grasp.
I hate my life.
Do you get two attacks? You get a tail and a bite, right?
I think I only get one, but I'm going to probably use my reroll. Let me check.
Okay.
Full attack. Yeah, it's a bite or a tail slap.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to use your luck coin, absolutely throw it up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna
19 will absolutely hit him.
Way better.
Okay. So after I hit him, can I initiate a grapple, or do I have to do that as the initial?
No, you can. I believe that as part of
Wait.
the alligator's bite, he can just do it immediately after biting. I believe it's part of the bite attack.
Reaction.
So it's
Yep.
damage and then the grapple. Okay.
Yeah. All right, 15 damage. Whew. You take a healthy chunk off of its leg as blood starts filling up this pond. Give me your grapple check. Spoiler alert,
Okay.
you're probably going to win this.
Oh, I'm gonna have to mute Discord because I keep getting freaking pop-ups.
17 will absolutely grapple this bad boy.
Yep.
As you clamp your
So
jaws
wait, what I'm
around
basically
him.
trying to do is like, I'm more or less going to try to drown him
Okay.
because I'm an aquatic creature.
Yeah. Now, you know that he is also an aquatic creature. As a troglodyte.
Oh, I thought they were subterranean.
Yeah, I don't think they get
Troglo-
water breathing.
Let me double check my stat sheet real fast. Should have already had this up before I started this. Oh no, it's a stench that I was thinking about. No, you are correct. You can start pulling him underwater. Absolutely.
Yes, drown my precious.
Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle.
Also, I just want to bring up one quick thing. When you're rolling your attack roll with that, are you just rolling the +6 off of the crocodile stat sheet?
Yes.
Okay, because you would have a +7 because your BAB is actually one higher than crocodiles.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, you keep your own BAB and stuff when you transform.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
No problem.
Next up will be all of the troglodytes.
Luna.
Oh, Luna. Yeah, Luna.
Sorry, I'm derpy as fuck.
No,
right
you're
now.
fine. What's Luna want to do?
She's gonna attack the guy in front of her.
Okay.
I'm guessing a 12 won't hit him though, because he's dicey.
No, we'll not hit that guy. All right, so troglodytes. First off, the troglodyte on you is going to attack you. Dakota, he's going to try and claw at you. Will a 18 hit you?
I don't think so.
I believe you have bark skin going right now, so just take the alligator's AC and add 4 to it, which I think is what bark skin does. I think.
So yeah, no, it wouldn't.
Okay. All right, so it fails. Let's see. Troglodyte here will swipe and actually finishes this guy off with a scream. Troglodyte here will finish off this guard. Troglodyte down here is attacking this guy that you all saw like run and jump through a window to get out of here, and doesn't manage to really hurt him at all. Troglodytes in here will continue fighting the guards. Troglodyte here is going to continue fighting the bard. The troglodytes in the foyer are going to move around to surround that guy, the captain of the guard. Troglodyte will move up here to start fighting the guards. And Kip. Kip, you are underground running through this subterranean set of tunnels. They don't look like they've been, like I told you last game, they don't look like they've been like finished or polished off anyway. It's really rough, coarse stone moving through here. You hear the sound of running far ahead of you. You can see behind you the hook horror that fell, that has gotten to its feet and has given chase to you. What would you like to do?
Full run action towards the sound of running.
Okay. How far can you
So
cover
about
with a full run?
120 feet.
120? Okay.
120 feet.
When you get to about 100 feet down this tunnel, it makes a quick dogleg to your left, and when you turn it, you can see further down the tunnel, you see a drow man running away from you with 2 other people ahead of him. You can't really make out who the people are ahead of him because he's sort of blocking the tunnel for you, but you do see 2 other figures ahead of him further down the tunnel running away from him. You'll be able to end your movement about 80 feet away from him.
Is there body language more or less that they're running away from him?
Give me a sense motive check.
Because it'd be just my luck if I blast him in the back and he turns out to be one of them in disguise. Of course, I'd have to hit him for that to work, but...
I don't think you're going to roll as many 2s this game. Unfortunately, all you can pick up right now is just people running. Coming from the chaotic situation on the surface, best bet is they're
You are correct.
Away.
I didn't roll as many 2s. I rolled a 1 instead.
Right? See, I called it. All right. Anything else you'd like to do?
Officially changed my name to Will Wheaton at this point.
All right. The Prince Guard. This one will continue fighting the Hook Horror. These 2 down here, this one will step up, move this body out of the way. They will step up to engage this Hook Horror. And that is it. Warden Isa Dunkel. He is floating about 30 feet off the ground right now as he spins around to sort of take in the carnage of the area. He will wave his hands as fire starts enveloping his fingertips and then hold his hands out as 5 beams of pure fire blast off of his right hand. One cutting right through this troglodyte next to him, searing it in half. The other one going, the other 4 going up and slicing this drow into little chunks of drow as it falls over dead.
Brutal.
Hook horrors. All right, let's start off with the one that we're all wondering about, Alora. This one is on you. Let me grab my roll sheet. All right. Going to do a full attack. First attack is going to be a 15, Alora.
That will not hit.
Second one is going to be a 25.
That will hit.
All right. So its claw is going to do... It's going to do 13 points of damage to you. And then it's going to bite at you with its beak. Beak attack is going to be a dirty 20.
That will not hit.
All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got the Hook Horror in the Ballroom. He is going to rip into the Crown's Guard that he has been fighting up to this point, and will actually rip the steel helm off of this guy's head and then bury his beak into his skull, killing him on the spot. Then we have the 2 Hook Horrors in the foyer. This one is going to fight the Prince Guard that's to his south. And much like the other one did, he will easily finish this Prince Guard off as he was on his last legs to begin with. And then he will move forward into the ballroom. The
Will he get
other
any rounds of? Will that Princess Guard get any rounds of bleeding out, or is he dead?
that one is dead. That he took his sheer strength alone with what he had remaining. That one's dead.
Okay.
Dead. The one that's in the ballroom,
Okay.
you will still have bleed time on. However,
Okay, it's okay. That one right there.
let me ping him for you. Yeah, that one right there is
Yeah.
still bleeding. In fact, let me change that from an X. I'm gonna put a green dot on him. He's out, but he's still bleeding. The other
Okay.
one's dead. This one will move across. It'll double move so it can get into this room. It throws the table to the side as it just charges in to get into the ballroom. All right, next up, Akko. You feel
Any
something
Nimnos?
moving
Oh,
just to your left. When you look over, there's nothing there.
Which square?
Right there.
I don't see anything.
Is this Akko or Imnos?
Akko. Let me
I don't see
ping
where you're
again.
pinging though.
Why is it not pinging for you guys? Oh, I'm on the wrong level. Right here. Directly to your left, but it's on the right of the screen.
Of the character, yeah.
Yeah. So you feel something moving. It's moving fast. So if you want to try to stab at it, you're welcome to, but you don't know what's there.
I can't make attacks of opportunity with blind sense.
No?
Nope.
All right. Does anyone in the ballroom have the ability to see invisible creatures? Okay, that's all I needed to know. So you feel that that presence move to the south, and then you lose feeling of it.
But it didn't try to stab me or anything?
Nope, it's just something moved very quickly past you. You're not sure what it was. You're pretty sure it was a medium-sized creature, but that's about the best you could get with how fast it moved past you.
Okay.
All right.
You gonna mention it?
Imnos,
On my turn.
yo.
you are up, my good friend.
Okay. So, Imnos is going to hop off of the down chair here and try and get above the hook horror briefly to come down on it with an attack. I'm going to try Soaring Raptor Strike.
Okay.
Is an 18 jump check enough to get its AC?
To get its AC?
Mhm.
No, it is not.
Because if not, I may want to spend something. Actually, I'm just going to use a reroll because a 5
Don't
is
forget
garbage.
your. Did he get? Were you guys in the prayer effect?
The bless. Oh yeah, the prayer effect.
Yes.
I don't think
Yeah.
Imnos, you
So
were
don't
outside,
forget
weren't you?
+1
I don't think it
8 or
applies to
+1
skill
attacks.
checks, though.
It's everything, I believe.
Okay. Well, I don't think a 19 would do it either.
No, a 19 will not do it either.
Oh, no, you're right. I don't think I am close enough. It's only 40 feet. So I'm going to use my reroll.
Okay.
Are you serious? I rolled
I don't see-
another 5.
I don't see any. Oh, you did. Sorry, it was the same thing. I didn't think you rolled anything new. No, unfortunately, the same thing will not do it. You do have fate dice you can use if you want.
This thing's too good to give up, so I'm going to use a fate die if that's all right. I don't mind if I use the D10.
Before
I'm fine with it.
Roll high.
All right, so you were 19. This puts you at 22, I believe.
Yes.
Double check. You hit it.
Oh, thank God. All right. And while I am in midair, the blade is going to burst forth with fire.
Okay.
So I'll use Burning Blade. So 9. So this is going to be the attack roll. That's a threat.
Roll to confirm.
No.
A 19's not going to do it, though. To confirm.
Unfortunately,
That's okay.
not.
It'd be a 20.
No, I added the bonus this time.
Well, unfortunately, the nat 1 counteracts it because you do crit fail on confirmations. So you don't critically hit him, but you do hit him.
That's good enough for me. Do you want the fire damage separate, or do you care?
I don't care for this creature.
Very good. So that's going to be 49 points of damage.
Woo!
As I hit the hell out of him.
You plant a foot on one of the dining chairs to this grand dining hall, leaping with all of your might up over this thing's head, just barely cresting over it because it's so tall. As you bring your burning blade down right into its clavicle and down into its body, as you feel its thorax crunch from the force of your blow, it gives off this crooning wail of pain. It is still up, but it does not look good. Anything else you'd like to do, Imnos?
Damn, I was hoping you didn't add the +1 damage.
Oh no, that's quite enough for me, thank you.
All right, Alara, you are up.
I have 2 questions.
Shoot.
1, with my current positioning, are Imnos and I currently flanking this hardcore?
Absolutely.
Thank you. 2, is it okay for me to like try to communicate with Imnos, or is this thing incapable of us like actually being able to say a word to him?
You can shout a couple words around him.
I'm going to throw my elbow out, like kind of motioning while looking at Imnos, saying we need to move down to the others. And then I am going to attack the hook horror.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'm doubting that a 14 will hit.
No, it will not hit, even with the plus. Oh, you already have the
All
plus
right.
2 for flanking in there, so no, that will miss.
All right. And then for my movement, because I still get a movement,
You do?
I will teleport 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, right here.
All right. You teleport into the ballroom. Okay. Next up are going to be our drow fighters. We have the drow fighter that's on Luna. He's going to strike at her. Rolling a 2 isn't going to help him as he misses her. Next we have the ballroom drow. This one will step down to engage Jules. This one will step over here. This one will move behind to flank the Prince Guard. Ringing of Swords as they start engaging in battle. In the foyer, drops this guard. This one will shoot across here with all of its movements. Up here, they will engage with these two guards. Jules, you're up.
Okay, so I have 2 drow on me now.
That is correct.
Okay. Do any of these drow look like they have crossbows or bows?
Give me a perception check.
$15.
You can see what look like
16.
what look like hand crossbows underneath the sleeves of their garb, coming and resting over their hands. So it looks like at least the ones next to you both have a hand crossbow on their right arm.
Okay. I am going to I guess I'll 5'3".
Okay,
Now that's my whole move action.
that is
If I remember
correct.
correctly? Okay. And then I will.
If you wanted to give up your standard action, you could withdraw the way that you just went and fly around to the prince. But that would be a full
Yeah.
round action.
Yeah, you lose any spell casting.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I lose. I can't really. Hold on a second.
Okay. While you're looking it up, Kip, you get another luck coin. Akko, you have inspo thanks to Pale Dragon.
Yay! Thank you. I'm gonna need that.
Thanks, Pale Dragon.
I'm going to step backwards.
Okay.
I'm just going to withdraw.
Okay.
And I'm going to fly over to land next to the prince.
Okay. He looks up at you as you descend. You can see there's a moment of defensiveness, but then that sort of fades away when he gets a good look at you.
Okay. And I am going to grab out of my. Can I hand him an item? Would that be something I could do with my bonus? I think is all I have left.
You don't have any bonus actions in 3.5. There's free actions, but I'll let you go ahead and do it. What do you want to hand to him?
All right. I want to hand to him a. I'm going to hand him a Tanglefoot bag and tell him to throw it at any enemies that come near him.
He takes it from you and looks at it a little incredulously, but he does take it from you and sort of hefts it in his hand as he looks around.
It'll tangle up anything that gets near to your son.
I don't think it's going to take out that hook horse, sir.
It'll slow it down.
All right. House Guard. This one will actually take out this troglodyte. That one's dead. This one up here will rush up to actually help Luna in attacking this drow. The one that's with the Burrowmaster will Burrowmaster's in the air, so he actually just sort of runs up to here and engages this drow, and together they will all manage to take this drow out with Luna helping them. Foyer, this one comes on the scene and will come up to fight this one. And then over on the sides, they will continue their skirmish from there. All right, back in the ballroom. Jules, you're right in the middle of this. As you're standing there,
Okay.
kind of engaged with the prince, you start feeling the air around you thrum with power. It's this audible sort of frequency that just behind you, and then you hear this sort of rending pop of air, and figures appear around you. As let me go to GM layer. As 4 Wardens of the Hold pop into existence here in this section of the ballroom. They look around for a moment, seeming to take in the situation for right now. But you can very clearly see the emblem of the Hold on their back. Some have wands out, some have swords out. But they are clearly in full combat mode.
I would like to, if I can get their attention, I'll yell, "Bring me that downed guard."
The one next to you looks over at you, but then he casts his eyes away as he starts taking in the room as a whole. All right, Bardic Troop. This bard will move up to assist her friend, and together they will be able to take out that troglodyte. Lord Hagrundi. Lord Hagrundi does not like anything about where he is located. Oh, I forgot hook whore. I forgot about this hook whore that's right over here.
Oh, you didn't. Just let it go.
No, I forgot it. I'm gonna
You
give
have too
the
many
hook
hook
whore.
horrors, sir.
He gets to do things. He's a person too. He is going
Every
to
book
annihilate
gets
this
to
woman.
stay.
He rends into this woman and rips her head off. It's
Oh,
not
boy.
it's not nice. Hagrundi will, he's got his house guard, he's got a drow, he's got a hook horror. He is going to move right here. And oh, what can he do? Where's his sheet at? He twists his walking cane and pulls a sword out, and he stabs at the drow with it, scoring a little blow on it, but not much. Next up are the drow priestesses. I don't think there are any more on the field. Yeah, the one drow priestess is dead. So, Crown Prince is up. Crown Prince, seeing the Warden show up, smiles kind of like a little roguishly at you, Jules, and lifts a hand up and pats you on. He's like, I think we can rest okay now. The big guns are here to take care of things. And he'll just stay where he is. You see his entire body relax in just supreme confidence of the situation he now finds himself in. Kip, you are underground. The hook horror is closing in on you. It does not move as fast as you, so you are easily able to outpace it, but it's still coming at you. It's easily able to figure out where you are with the sounds in the tunnel. But you do watch as a blast of vibrant neon and black energy soars over its shoulder and slams into the tunnel wall just ahead of you. It looks very familiar. It looks like a carbon copy of the energy you shoot out of your own hands when you're engaging enemies. Burrowmaster. The Burrowmaster continues his laughing as everything is going on. Except, let's see. I believe that, Fee, you're the only one who would really see this. He looks down at Gibraltar the Goblin, and says, "Why don't you help the little one who went down, down, down?" And he waves his hand, and Gibraltar the Goblin is picked up off of his feet and thrown down the hole that Kip jumped down. And that Gazebo Daddy jumped down. You hear this goblin screech as he disappears into the hole. The Burrowmaster will fly around. You can get about there. You can see that he's starting to make his way toward Dunkel at this stage. He's kind of done playing with little things. He's moving towards the biggest thing on the field that you all have seen at this stage. Akko, you're up.
All right.
Jules abandoned
Akko
you.
might be in the middle
You're
of
surrounded.
Yeah, might be in the middle of eating elf kidney, but I'm not liking the way the situation is going. So he's got an eye on Hagrundi, so I'm gonna cast defensively.
Okay. Give me concentration.
And yep, it's gonna be DC 15 because it's a cantrip.
Okay. Ooh, a cantrip. You're busting out the big guns on this one.
The big guns.
The big guns. You got it. What
We
cantrip are
make
you
it.
casting?
And I'm casting Sonic Snap on this guy.
Okay. What do you need from me?
Also, I'm gonna smite his ass because I'm pretty sure they're evil. Will save.
It
That's a
fails.
15.
it fails.
Score. It takes. Well, it's deaf. First of all,
Okay.
That's the really important part.
that's the really important part. It's deaf for a couple of minutes, I think.
Okay.
Might be an hour. Either way, it's the duration of this combat at least.
Okay. There's
Roll-
instantly an ear-piercing shriek as this thing is trying to echolocate around itself, but it can't hear the sound waves coming back into it. How much damage do you do to
Effect
it?
monster. It's evil, right?
Double check alignment. No, it's not.
It's not evil.
It is not evil.
Really?
Then
Then
is.
it only takes 1 damage.
It is
Chaotic
it is
hungry.
It's chaotic hungry. That's probably the best way to put it, Amnos. Absolutely.
I know
All
how
right.
that feels.
Everything in the Underdark should be evil. It only takes one. It takes 1 sonic damage.
Okay, 1 sonic damage. All right. It barely notices that part of it. Anything else you'd like to do, Akko?
Oh yeah, that's the important part. I'm gonna eat the 2 attacks of opportunity as I step away from all of these guys.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk toward the Wardens and I'm gonna show them my my stupid bracelet.
Okay.
So they don't eat me 'cause I'm
Does
traumatized.
a dirty 20 hit you?
Nope.
And a 25.
25 does it.
Okay. You're going to take 11 points of damage as one of their swords pierces straight into your side.
Ow, that mildly hurt.
All right, you make your way towards the Wardens, sort of like holding. You're like bracelet. They look at you.
Please don't kill me.
Their eyes assess you for a moment and then move away from you dismissively.
Okay, just making sure they don't kill me.
All right, regular NPCs. First off, your friend House Carl Jory and his wife are going to try to withdraw away from their terrible situation. It's not going to help them a ton. As you, Alara, you see Jory's wife get cut up very badly as she falls to the ground and starts bleeding as the hook horror manages to snap a claw across her back. Jory gets a little bit further, but then stops and starts trying to help his wife to drag her out of there. Let's see. Other people. Are there any regular people still alive? Everyone's favorite window runner. He's going to withdraw, and he's going to try an athletics check to try and get over the wall again. Natural 20 for his athletics roll. As he manages to, like, Jackie Chan his way up the wall and flips over it and disappears. He is gone. He's done with this shit. We have...
We have an Accords guy up at the top, too.
Yeah, we got a couple other little people here. This woman is going to run into the gazebo and join her friend who is hiding. This one will run, see them, and then join them in hiding. We have Theoden still up here. Theoden will splash into the pond to help Fee as he sort of jumps off the walkway and comes down on the troglodyte that you're trying to drown with his little hidden short sword. He will hit. All right, he manages to give it a little good showing there. This woman up here is going to she's going to stay where she is. She doesn't want to move. And I think that is all of our regular noble people. B, you are up.
Sweet. I'm just gonna, like, clamp down on my vice grip and keep trying to drown this asshole.
Okay. So you can attack with natural weapons while you still have him in a grapple. You don't release the grapple by doing it. So just give me an attack roll for your bite. As you just clamp and squeeze with all your might. Unfortunately, he manages to, like, put his hands into your jaw to keep you from biting down any further, but he doesn't manage to, like, rip your jaw open to get away. Luna dog piles into the situation.
What's... So...
Just an attack roll.
Does she get a bonus for him being... Okay. I'll just roll my attack then.
His AC is different because he's in the grapple.
Plus flanked, plus... Yeah.
That'll hit.
He's grappled, plus he's flanked. And...
Yeah.
Yeah.
She actually hit him with just the 14, but everything else just nailed it down even further.
8 more.
All right. He is still up, but he... Like, this pool is flooded with blood at this point as he is just scrambling trying to get away.
And I'm assuming you can't trip a grappled opponent, so...
No, it's essentially the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
All right, he is going to try to escape the grapple, so give me a grapple check, please.
All right.
Well, surprisingly enough, you actually won, so he remains underwater while getting the shit kicked out of him in every direction possible. This one will use all of its movement to get into the ballroom and get right there with everything it's got. This one slices into this guard and drops the guard. Guard is bleeding. Troglodytes over here. They move up on the house Carl and his wife. Actually, probably just move up in the house Carl. She's on the ground. And they start engaging him. He looks to be a little tougher than your common nobleman, though. He's managing to duck out of the way. It does take like a vicious claw across the chest, but it doesn't drop him. And that is going to be our... Oh, we got a troglodyte up here. He comes over here and attacks a Scar. That's what he's good. Kip, You are 80 feet away from the drow that is ahead of you. The hook horror is probably about 60 feet behind you. What would you like to do?
Just for clarity's sake, can I speak a brief statement and still take a standard action?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do something dumb but potentially cool, because that seems to be the only thing that works for me, and I'll take it. I will sacrifice my move action to reach into my bag and pull out a scroll.
Okay.
Shout out at the top of my lungs, Alara to me.
Alisara.
Alisara? Yeah, sure, that.
Alisara. Okay.
And then I will cast Alarm on the ground, which I believe when the hook core enters it will trigger an audible alarm, which may confuse his senses.
Okay. Okay. I see what you're doing. All right. So you shout out Alisara to me, which makes way more sense than Ilara, who would have no way of hearing you down there. You cast the alarm on the ground. Okay. Got it.
And now I wait while Godzilla bears down on me to see if this works.
Yeah. These two Prince Guards drop this hook horror. Their blades cut through its body, and it slumps over and falls into the hole, dead. They are the only two Prince Guard that are still alive at this stage. Dunkel. Dunkel sees the Burrowmaster going for him, and he flies towards the Burrowmaster and starts talking to him in a lower, hushed, aerial conversation. B, you can give me a perception check. It's going to be hard though because you're partially underwater. There's a thrashing troglodyte in your hand and two other people in that water also. So it's going to be difficult, but you could possibly hear. Holy shit, a 30.
It was a 30.
All right. You basically get the gist of the conversation as Dunkel flying toward the Burrowmaster, sort of pleading his case, going, I was taken to another realm. I did not cause this problem. I'm here to help resolve the situation. I am on your side. Essentially is what it comes down to. And the Burrowmaster hasn't responded at this stage. Hook horrors. Let's start with Imnos. Imnos, first attack is going to be a 21.
Yep.
Second claw. So a dirty 20 then. Okay.
Still hits.
Second attack is going to be much higher than that. And then
That's bad.
Bite attack. Only a 12 for the bite attack.
That one misses.
Okay, claws. So first you'll take 11, and then you'll take 9.
All right.
And then,
okay,
because it hits you with both of its claws, it will immediately initiate a grapple check as a free action. So you can give me a strength or a dex roll.
Okay.
Your choice.
Technically, you're supposed to do that before the bite, because if you do it before the bite, it deals double damage on the bite, essentially.
Oh yeah, you are right about that. Oh well, he blew his load first, so.
I was sitting here going, should I mention that or not?
I just
What you
stopped
got for
rolling
me?
5s.
You got an 11, Imnos?
I got an 11.
Unfortunately, both claws, one digs into your back, the other one digs into your shoulder as this thing lifts you off the ground in front of it. and starts bringing you in towards its beak. But not just yet. Let's see. We have this hook horror. It will move over to engage Alara. That is going to be a 21, Alara.
Does not hit.
All right. That is all.
Because I was wrong about my my tower shield skill, my tower shield stats.
Okay. This hook horror just spends its turn thrashing around, trying to hear anything, but being unable to, as it just moves in a random direction. It actually moves back out into the garden, not knowing where to go or what to do. This hook horror will take a 5-foot step and lays into this bard, dropping her to the ground, a bloody mess. All right. Jules, give me a perception check, please.
Great.
You hear a noise behind you. You have one action. What do you do?
I hear a noise behind me.
You hear a noise like steel being
action?
drawn, and you have an action. What do you do?
I cast invisibility purge.
Okay. You cast invisibility purge. As you look behind you as you're casting that spell, you see the form of Yolanda Graves shimmer into being with a dagger raised above her head, just behind the prince. He begins to turn also, as she strikes down at him. She will connect with him. She will do Object Slayer, please, Wade. Her blade sinks into his chest, and then he begins to scream as he raises a hand up and grabs at the blade and at his chest and starts tearing at it as he falls to the ground, screaming in pain. Yolanda stands there, looking at you, Jules, with a very angry look on her face now that she's visible. Imnos, you're up.
Well, I'm not likely to get out of this grapple, so I'm going to try and calmly swipe at it while it's got me.
Okay.
With an insightful strike.
That will hit.
27. Cool. So for damage, that's going to be also 27.
Are you sure? That's a die 20 for damage.
For damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You roll a concentration check for your damage with this one.
Well, shit. That absolutely hits. As you looking over this thing's body, you get the feeling that its head is its weakest part, with these lumpy masses that make up its sort of avian style head. And so you just rear back, knife hand right into one of the lumpy messes and shred into this thing's skull, exposing a chunk of its brain. You don't drop it, but it looks terror-bad right now. Anything else you'd like to do?
Plenty of things, but I don't think I'm going to be able to.
Okay. Alara, you are up.
Oh, Jesus. There are like 5 things I want to do. Fuck. Well, I guess I have to bamf again
Okay.
because that thing grabbed Imnos, and I'm a fucking idiot.
You're not a fucking idiot.
Your words, not ours.
Sentimental idiot. I barely done anything because I've just been moving for most of this fight. So yeah, I'm gonna attack.
Okay.
That's my Imnos. Back off.
Your blade comes up. Let's see that roll.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna use my reroll.
Okay. I think this is a great
From
point
last
to use
week.
it. Yeah. Excellent point to use it. Man, you are just in the single digit area right now.
No, I've been trying to just. I just want you to know this entire time, I have been trying to cast Blessed, in which it can get the most amount of people
So, just as a point,
between this game and last game.
if you roll the D20 fate die, you've got like a 60 or so % chance to hit him.
I will also put this out there for you. You could roll the die 8, but you would need a high roll on the die 8, but you could hit him with the die 8. I will just put that out there also. Just to give you options.
Roll the 20.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll the 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do it.
How often do we roll the 20 anyway?
You've only done it
Not
once
often.
at this stage.
That's pretty good.
There we go.
That puts you at 25. That absolutely hits as you bring your blade up and slice in on this thing's arm that's holding on to Imnos. Give me that damage.
Jesus Christ.
7 damage. Okay. What's its health at? It screeches in pain, but it does not let Imnos go.
Okay.
All right. Drow. First off, Kip, down the tunnel. The drow that is about 80 feet ahead of you. It continues running along with the 2 people ahead of it. You do hear a voice call out to you, echoing through the tunnel, recognizing it as Alisara's voice. As you hear it say, Kip, run! Get away from here! But otherwise, they continue trekking ahead of you. Let's see. Drow over here, they are going to finish off the guardsmen that they are fighting in the skirmish. This one is still embroiled in a fight. This one will move to assist the hook horror. This one moves to assist the troglodyte. This one moves over and starts to attack the warden. Yeah, he has no reason not to do that. Lord Hagrundi's guard falls as a blade pierces into his heart and drops him dead to the ground, leaving Lord Hagrundi alone with this drow in front of him. Jules, you are up.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to adjust the Crown Prince. That is not what I wanted to have happen.
I'm guessing the Crown Prince is laying on the ground screaming.
Yes, he is on the ground screaming in pain.
I'm going to move 5 feet this way. So a 5-foot step or whatever.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cast Delay Poison.
All right. Can you post the spell up?
And I'm going to... Sure.
I just want to look at it real fast. All right, subject becomes temporarily immune to poison.
Becomes
Poison system
temporarily immune.
does not affect the subject until the spell's duration's expired. Does not cure any damage the poison may have already done. It will last for 4 hours. All right, that's the important part. 4 hours, or sorry, 5 hours. Is your level 5 now?
Yep.
Yeah, you reach forward and you lay your hands on his head, and instantly his body stops being racked with pain as he just sits there, kind of huffing in exertion from the immense pain you assume he just went through. If anything, Yolanda's face gets more infuriated as she's looking at you. Give me another perception
Jules.
check, Jules. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah.
It's okay. No, not at all. 17.
As you cast a quick glance up at Yolanda and see her sort of frothing in anger, you watch as her eyes, which have been brown up to this point, for a moment, there's sort of this static flicker over her eyes, and these purple eyes are staring at you before they go back to being brown.
Okay, I'll ask more questions about that later.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Anything else you'd like to do?
And at this point, I would like to have landed over top of the prince.
Okay.
Because I'm flying.
Yep.
So can I share his square and be essentially, hand to hand combat with her?
Yeah. So I'll let you
Over
do
his
that.
body.
For the purposes of this, though, I am going to
Or-
just place you back to where you were, but you guys are sharing the same square.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm probably hovering, a foot above him or whatnot, so he can move and whatnot. So yeah.
Got it. All right. The Wardens. If you all have ever imagined like a Harry Potter full scale, like explosion of magic battle that just happens, these Wardens explode with arcane force as they move forward. This Warden right here reaches forward as his hand takes on this red glow, smashing into this drow's face. And you watch his body, Jules, as it starts immediately desiccating as the moisture is drawn out of it, and it falls over a dry, dead husk. The Warden that is directly next to you, Jules, he steps forward as he starts casting a spell and tries to smack Yolanda upside the head and misses as she manages to narrowly dodge out of the way.
She does have a -1. Oh, never mind. That's not to AC.
Yeah, she doesn't have it, though. She wasn't
Disregard.
within your range when you cast it.
Oh,
Akko,
okay.
the Warden next to you, steps forward. He starts muttering some words, and a bolt of lightning shoots out of his hand, moving straight up this way, cutting
that poor
through these drow, killing them on the spot. The guard is electrified and dies. Troglodyte dies, and the hook horror looks smoky. The last Warden will move over here as he...
Can I
Go
say
ahead.
something as they're moving in?
Yeah.
I need her alive. That's all.
Okay. He begins casting a spell and he casts defensively first off, and he reaches down, touches the crown prince, and the prince pops away, disappearing. Bardic Troop. This bard heals the other bard. Lord Hagrundi withdraws, like crawls under this table, and just starts getting away as far as he possibly can. Kip, the hook horror at this stage has entered into the field of your alarm. All of a sudden, the tunnel is filled with this cacophony of bells and siren noises going off. It's actually even hard for you because it's an echoing chamber that's bouncing this noise around. You watch as the hook horror still moves forward down the tunnel, thrashing its head around. All it's doing at this point is just charging headlong forward. It's not going for you per se, but there's no other place for it to go other than backwards. But just before it starts to run over you, you watch as another green beam of energy shoots from behind it, hitting the back of its head and blowing a hole through its skull, causing it to crash into the ground. When you look past it, you see the man that you met on the gazebo standing about 10 feet away, huffing and puffing with exertion as he looks at you. Burrowmaster.
Sorry, all I can hear is Dakota chanting "Gazebo Daddy" from the other room.
It's really hard for me not to say Gazebo Daddy too, but I'm refraining. Burrowmaster is going to move away from Dunkel as he moves down here, and for those of you who can see the Burrowmaster, this entire wall section right here is pretty much blown out from where the hook horror entered into it. So everyone who's in the ballroom or has a line of sight can easily see the Burrowmaster as he reaches behind himself as if he's going to draw a sword, and then actually draws a sword that materializes from the air as a great sword forms, and he just starts laying into this hook horror. Akko, you're up.
Oh,
I don't know why this other
what I
pawn
was
is
going
here.
to
Put her there.
So I can pretty easily see that Imnos has been grabbed by the hooked horror, right?
Yes, and it does not look good for Imnos.
And now that Hagrundi has run and hidden under a table, I can't really see him anymore.
Give me a perception check. There's a lot going on in the field, but you could potentially see him.
Yeah, I mean, my original plan had to do with Grundy, but him running away, I think, ruined my idea. And saving Imnos may actually be a better idea at this point.
Give me a perception check regardless, just to see if you know where Hagrundi is. It's not a difficult one, but
Wow!
you know where he is.
Yeah, but he got away from the life or death situation he was in. So,
That's fair.
Akko is instead going to 5-foot step here to the side and draw a scroll from his pack. And he is going to read it and cast Sound Lance on that hooked horror.
The one that's holding Imnos?
Hell yeah.
Yep.
All right. What do I need?
So that'll be no roll to hit. It's a fortitude save. DC is spell level 3, minimum score 13, so 14.
Fortitude. Where are your saves at, big boy? There it is. What'd you say you need to roll?
14.
He rolled a 13.
Huzzah! He takes that much sonic damage.
All right. So you whip out the scroll, you incant off of it, as you feel this this sonic force, almost like a javelin, form in your hand. You rear back and you toss it. It shoots across the ballroom, striking into the hook horror, right into its chest. Imnos and Alara, you watch as some invisible, intangible thing punctures into this thing's chest, and then boom, it explodes like a watermelon hit by a hammer, and the hook horror falls to the ground dead.
Oh boy.
Imnos, you crash into the ground as this thing's lifeless arms just drop you, but you are freed from its grasp.
And this is exactly why we murder every single wizard we come across.
Anything else you'd like to do, Akko?
That is my whole turn.
All right. Civilians.
Cross out that sound, Lance.
Lord Hagrundi is valiantly going to try and fight these troglodytes bare-fisted to save his wife. He does not look like he's doing so good. Gazebo gals will continue to hide at the gazebo. That is all the regular. This woman, the prince's escort, she will move over here and just kind of press up against this statue, trying to take up as little space as possible in this situation. B, you are up.
Is Theoden gonna attack my troglodyte buddy?
Oh, Theoden. He does get an attack. He's got
I need
flanking.
all the help killing this thing I can get.
Theoden buries his short sword into this thing's skull, dropping it dead in your grasp.
Yay!
Uh,
All right. In that case, I'm going to yeah, let me see what my movement is. Oh, that is slow.
Yeah, like 20, right?
I am a waddly ass crocodile. Actually, in that case, I'm going to shift out of being a crocodile.
Okay. You retake your form as
And
B.
can I then cast, or is that all I can do? That and move.
I believe wild shaping is a standard action, but let me double check.
Okay.
Up class druid, wild shape, 5th level. Turn yourself into small, medium, back and forth once per day. Options: ability, alternate form, that lasts for an hour or until changed back. Changing form to an animal or back is a standard action, so you can move,
Okay.
but you can't do anything else.
Okay. Then I'm going to move, I guess, over here. And
Okay.
I'm going to send Luna after this troglodyte.
Yeah, she can easily clear the distance and attack. She's got them fast wolf legs.
18?
That will hit. She
10 points
drops the
damage?
trog dead as she pounces on it, knocking it to the ground, latches onto its throat, and just rips away with a chunk of meat and spray of blood.
This guy right here he's dead, right? He didn't bleed
He's
out
dead.
or anything. He's just dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay.
Dead. All
Alright,
right.
that's it.
Anything else? That's it. Okay. Troglodytes. That troglodyte is dead. ballroom. Oh, we got one here on a crown guard. It claws ineffectually at its full-plated body. House Carl Jory goes down with a roar of blood. He is bleeding. He is not dead, but he is not looking good or anywhere near it. All right, that's Trogs. Kip, you're up.
Can Jules hear that?
Give me perception, Jules.
Can Jules hear him go down?
Give me perception.
I also roll perception.
Sure.
15.
Locations. You both hear a cry in the other room, but you don't know who caused it. I mean, there's a lot of screaming going on, though.
Don't know him well enough to recognize it.
Yeah, you guys never heard him in combat before. Akko, you have a follow-up
Hey,
question?
Dave, are you adding the bardic inspiration too?
I wasn't, but it's fine.
15 still wouldn't be enough. There's a lot going on. It's around a corner in a different room that you can't see. It's a difficult check. Kip.
I will turn to Gazebo Daddy.
Okay.
And just give him a glare. Be like, pull your fucking socks up. We're not done yet. And take off after the drow, and I will launch an Eldritch Blast at his back.
What's the range on your
30
Eldritch
foot,
Blast?
30-foot move and then 60 feet.
You did not move last turn. He did a full move. So that would, you're still 90. It's ×4 for a run, right, John?
Yeah, as long as you're not wearing a full plate or.
Also, only in a straight line.
Yeah.
Oh, only a straight line?
Yes. Otherwise, he'd just have to double move.
Gotcha. Okay. Then yes, you are able to do that. Give me a range touch attack, Kip. $12 for the touch attack. Take off his armor. That'll hit, actually. Your beam slams into the back of his shoulder. It does 10 damage.
And
Okay.
for the purpose of spell resistance, I take an automatic 10 on my caster level checks because of my arcane mastery feat.
Got it. So that brings your caster level up to 15?
Yep.
All right. It does pierce through his spell resistance. All right. And then are you doing the sickening? Is that just an automatic thing?
It's automatic. It's a blast essence.
Gotcha. All right. So he is sickened. What's that condition do again?
Let me check for you. I believe
-2 to attack rolls, damage rolls, skill checks, and saves.
Does it affect his movement speed?
No.
Okay. That's what I'm looking for, is the movement speed. All right.
No, I think that's I can't remember what that one is.
Okay. You
So
are at your
nauseated
max.
would mean that he could only move.
Okay. You are at your max range, Kip, so he is 60 feet away from you. Give me a perception check, Kip.
Oh, I'm fantastic at those.
You've done pretty good at those before.
Yeah, not too bad for untrained. Because not a single one of those skills is in class for me.
Can't be good at everything. 14, that's a decent roll. You can see the two figures that are ahead of him. Now at closer range, you can see Alisara is one of the people that's ahead of him. And she is running full tilt away. All right. Next up would be the Prince Guard. That one's going to stay engaged on the Troglodyte. This one's going to move up and engage the Drow. Warden Dunkel. Where is he? What does he want to do? Warden Dunkel will fly along. He'll just use all of his movement and fly speed to get in here into the Grand Ballroom. He looks around, surveying the area, what's going on, but that's it. Hook Horrors. All right, we only have the one that's on the Burrowmaster. It will blindly attack and terribly miss. This Hook Horror will rampage down here and engage the Prince Guard. Hook Horror in here will continue fighting these two, and this time it will hit this bard that was just recently healed and rip her chest cavity open, dropping her dead to the ground.
Yeesh.
Yolanda. Yolanda does, first off, is infuriated that the Crown Prince got away. You can just tell that, Jules. You can see that she's looking at where he was, and all of her composure is gone. She's practically frothing at the mouth that he's gone and what you did. She looks at you, Jules, sort of disregarding the Wardens completely. As she locks eyes with you,
Mm-hmm.
She begins casting defensively. That will let her get through. As her body starts warping in place, she locks eyes with you and says, "This changes nothing." And then, with a clap of sound, she is gone.
Is she by chance invisible?
Roll
invisibility
spellcraft.
Purge is actually still up. Okay.
Roll spellcraft. You and Akko can
Well, I
both
mean,
roll
just-
it.
No, I'm gonna actually go ahead and use my reroll.
Okay.
Or nah, Akko's got this. That's fine. Never mind.
Okay. So first off, you don't think she's invisible. She wouldn't be able to turn invisible within the field of your purge. Akko, she casts teleport. All right,
He's
Imnos, you are up. You are out of this thing's arms. You are free to move. What would you like to do?
Sort of cough a bit and weakly say to Alara, "Go," and I will take a full round action to recover my maneuvers.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to be a lot of use until I have those back.
Alara, you're up.
So I'm going to turn to Imnos and say, yeah, just 1 second, lay on hands and heal him for 10.
Thank you.
His
And
cheeks
then
are
I
a
will
little bit more
bamf somewhere
flush.
else. Give me
All right.
hold on, I have to figure out where I'm bamfing to.
Okay.
That's probably my best location.
Crack of radiant light you can reposition over there easily enough. All right, Drow warriors. Let's see. First off, this Drow drops the crown or the Prince Guard. Manages to luckily slide his blade into a portion of its helm, across its gorget and into this man's neck, dropping him dead. This one moves up to engage. This one isn't concerned about this bard anymore, so he actually moves away from her. He takes the attack for opportunity, but she misses. As he wants to fight the warden. Dead. Okay, Fourier. This guard drops These drow will full move into here. Jules, you're up.
Where did the other Kingsguard that was right next to the downed one go?
There were only two
Is that
Prince Guard in here. One is down now. He's dead. This one is bleeding out.
okay? And this is the last round I could really get to him.
Yeah, this would, you estimate. You're not exactly sure, but probably a good bet.
Okay. I will cast. Hold on. Let me double check if I've got the spell points left. I do not. I will spontaneously cast Cure Moderate.
Okay.
And then fly over to him, and he will receive. Check with my bonuses. +1 for 17.
He sucks in a huge gasp of air as his wounds begin knitting closed. Anything else you'd like to do?
Yes, I am then going to fly here.
Okay.
And take in the scene.
You can clearly see the house Carl Jory and his wife down and everything else going on in this room.
Okay. I will turn to back to the room and say, Alara, Akko, the house Carl needs our help.
Okay.
And that'll conclude my turn. Actually, I'm gonna fly 10 feet up, so I'm out of. Actually, I'm just gonna fly back here. I'm still just 5 feet above the ground.
Okay. There is only one house guard left. He will rush in here as a full round action, just to try and find his liege lord. Wardens. All right. Move up there. He'll move up there. Let's see what's on this field. A burst of magic missiles flies from this warden, slamming into this troglodyte, dropping it dead. Both these other two wardens right here do the same thing onto the hook horror, dropping it dead. And then this one that's engaged with two people, he moves his hands back and forth and a plume of fire erupts away from him, trying to engulf these two drow. But the spell flickers across their skin, causing the flames not to find any place to catch on and burn them as their spell resistance fights it off. Last bard on the field, she is going to withdraw. Her friend is dead. She runs away. She manages to get up to here. That'll be her movement. Lord Hagrundi, he moves around, sees you all fighting, and he'll move up next to his guard, and that's where he's going to stay. Kip, Gazebo Daddy follows along behind you. As you fire at the drow, he shrugs and he also fires his own Eldritch Blast. As he gets close to you, Kip, he's standing basically shoulder to shoulder with you now. You feel this kind of a vibration between the two of you, as the energy inside of you starts bubbling and building. As he throws his hands forward, the beam, the Eldritch Blast, the same exact color, width, size as yours, grows into this big 5-foot wide beam that blasts down this hall, slamming into the drow. Because I crit, dropping the drow to the ground dead, as his beam just vaporizes this guy, blowing him away into etheric dust. He looks at you and smiles, but doesn't say anything.
Just high-pitched squeak coming out of Kip's mouth.
The Burrowmaster continues doing melee combat with the Hook Horde, because when you're an Ogre Magi, why the fuck not? And he will actually bury his sword into this creature, slaying it on his third attack. Akko, you are up.
Let's see. Hagrundi got away, more or less. Akko's going to step up, and I'm going to Sonic Snap the injured drow.
Okay.
So he gets a DC 15 will save against being deafened.
Is it subject to spell resistance?
Evil? I think it is. Hold on. Well, it's sonic damage. Maybe it's not.
Usually save spells.
Spell resistance, yes.
Okay, so you need to make a caster level check.
Score. D20 plus level?
Yep.
22.
You pierce his spell resistance. He does make the save, and he is evil.
One sonic and 9 radiant.
His head explodes like a pinata. As the ringing sonic pain blows out his eardrums, dropping him to the ground dead. Good cantrip. All right.
Definitely a good cantrip when the dragon god's like, get fucked.
Right? All right, Gazebo Gals will continue to stay where they are. It's working great for them. Really the only other two regular people are the House Carl and his wife. All right, Fee, you're up. Theoden looks to you and what are your orders? What do you want to do now?
Are you hurt? Do you need heal?
Barely. Alisara's safety is more important than my injuries.
I think Kip went after Alisara and the other one, and I'm going to run here, Wade, and I'm going to cast. Where is it? I'm going to cast Stone Shape to make stairs going down into the hole.
Absolutely. Give me a caster level check. Just a die 20 plus your druid level.
Sure.
Okay. You managed to make the stairs going down. It's 10 square feet of stone. So even though it's 60 feet down, you're just making little stairs. So you're able to make it. It's not like a full stairway. It may require a little bit of balancing to get down, but you do have a way of getting down. That's not just sort of...
Yeah, I just want a way down and a way back up. We're not stuck.
Yep, you got it. Does Luna want to do anything?
Luna's just going to follow me.
Okay. All the troglodytes are dead. Oh no, there's still one alive. Three alive. This one will run across the field. These two will race into the room. This one's like jumping underneath you, Jules, trying to get at you in the air. but it can't get to you right now. Kip, you're up.
I will double move. If it's a straightaway, I will do a run action and yell to Alisara that the drow is dead.
Okay. You're yelling this out down the tunnel. It's not a straightaway anymore. It's kind of these sort of small curves and embankments. As you turn the last one, you see Alisara and the Bronwyn delegate standing at the end of a dead end. There's stone behind them. They both look up at you, very surprised to see you. Like, it's very evident. Alisara starts to take a step forward towards you, but the Bronwyn man, he reaches up, grabs her shoulder, and pulls her back into the stone, and they disappear into the solid stone. For a brief moment, as they both enter it, you see these runes fluctuate across the face of the stonework. And then they fade away. Yeah, you're probably about 20 feet away from there with your full movement. Gazebo Daddy right behind you.
Spellcraft?
You believe they entered a teleportation circle. Based on the runic scheme that you saw. Go ahead.
Would I know if it needed to be activated?
Just double checking. Give me 1 second. You don't know if this one in particular would be required to be activated. You do know teleportation circles can be just free-flowing highways, basically, that anyone can enter in and out of. They could have keywords. They could have talismans that they're attached to. You don't know about this one in particular, unfortunately. Not with that rule.
Okay. Would I know if the participants have to be willing?
No, they would not. They can't just be forcibly sent through it. Anything that touches the teleportation circle goes through the teleportation circle.
Okay, and final question, if I could know this, and I can roll Knowledge Arcana if necessary. Would this spell take a great deal of prep work, or is it something he could have cast in the brief time they're ahead of me?
Yeah, roll Knowledge Arcana for this one.
Yep.
This spell is, first off, incredibly powerful. This is a 9th tier spell. This wasn't cast by an amateur by any stretch of the imagination. Someone with some real power did it, and it would have taken them, at the minimum, probably at least anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour to place this thing into being. You do know there's a limited duration to these spells, though. So probably it may have a lot longer left to it. It might not. You're not quite sure. There are ways to extend it, but that's about what you know about it.
Okay. And how far away was the wall when they ducked through?
You're about 20 feet away from it at this stage.
At the end of my action, or when I turn the corner?
Yeah, after your full movement round, you saw them, and that's kind of where your round ends.
Got it.
Okay.
I turn and look at Gazebo Daddy and just kind of cock my head towards the teleportation circle and ask him if he wants to take a trip.
He looks at it. Take a trip into a bunch of stone? Doesn't sound like a fun time.
Teleportation circle.
He doesn't seem to have any idea what you're talking about. You don't know if he's just sort of winded or if he just doesn't have a greater grasp of the Arcana. like you do because of your time in the Adventuring Academy, but he just doesn't seem to be catching on to what you're throwing down.
Yep, I got it.
All right. Let's see. Prince Guard. This guy will stand up. The prince is gone. He will actually step back to guard the wardens. Warden Dunkel. Let's see. What can he see here? He sees a drow. He waves his hand and a bead of flame flies through the air. At this point, you all know what Fireball looks like. It's been cast numerous times around you all. Akko has cast it. It flies through the air. It lands right here. And the flames spread like kerosene as engulfs the Hook Horror, the Drow, the two Troglodytes. And fortunately, Dunkel doesn't see the House Carl and his wife on the other side of the wall. So, spell resistance. He will drop the two Trogs. Hook Horror is looking fucked up. And one of the Drow drops. Jules, from your location, you can see the charred remains of the House Carl's wife. It looks like the House Carl was just out of range, but she unfortunately was not. Hook Horror. Sorry, what'd you say, Jules?
I said okay.
There is only one Hook Horror left on the field. He will scream and rage. You're 10 feet off the ground, Jules?
Yes.
He is going to charge at you. +2 for the charge. Not that he really needs it. That's going to be a 27.
That'll hit.
Jules, you are going to take 14 points as its claw strikes into one of your legs, almost pulling you down from the air, but it slices through clean. And that will be it for its turn. Imnos, you're up.
Okay, I'm gonna use Sudden Leap as a swift action to try and get some distance real quick. 27 is an enormous amount of movement.
Yeah.
10, 15, 20, 5, 30. And then as a move, I'm going to tumble around to here.
Give me a tumble check. I believe you are looking for a 20 to move through an unoccupied threatened space. Easy, yeah. You swing around underneath and over to the side of the Hook Horror.
And I will leap up and try and deliver another Soaring Raptor strike.
All right. Roll it.
First the jump check. Oh, I used last week's reroll, but I'll use this week's reroll.
Okay.
Is a 21 enough to get it?
Unfortunately, it is not.
Shouldn't he have flanking?
No, because you aren't threatening the Hook Horror. The Hook Horror is threatening you with its 10-foot reach. But you can't hit the Hook Horror.
Isn't it a large creature?
It is a large creature. Oh, I'm sorry.
So
he is tall enough. You are right. You do get the +2 for flanking. You're absolutely correct, Jules. So you have a 23 Imnos. Yeah.
Quarterstaff.
All right. Well, in that case, let's do that.
Absolutely. Good call.
So in that case, that will be 1d6 for that. 3, 96. You can take 41 points of damage.
So Imnos, you
Imnos tries to lop his head off.
Yeah, you rush across the ground. It's rubble. It's a mess. Your feet skid out from you at one point, but you slide under the hook horror's legs, grab one of its shins, spinning around. You kickflip up onto this thing's back, grab onto one of the chitinous plates, ready your blade, and stab down into this thing's neck, right through its spine. You feel it screech in pain, wailing, before it stumbles, drops to a knee, and then hits the ground dead.
Ooh, very good.
Nice job,
Last
Imnos.
of the hook horrors are dead.
Time
Those
to
things
clean up
suck.
some elves.
Alara,
Yeah, one sec. I'm gonna move to here,
okay. Hop.
and I'm gonna attack this drow. No, that's a 20-foot. That I can just move that.
Oh yeah, you can just run over there, yeah. All right, give me the attack on the drow. That will
22.
absolutely hit that drow.
Nice.
8 damage.
That's enough to finish that drow off as he drops to the ground dead under your blade. This room is slowly coming to a little bit of a quiet zone as there is only that one drow over here still left up in this room. In fact, it is the drow's turn now. This drow is going to disengage. 30, 35, 40, and dives into the hole. Jules, you watch as he begins plummeting, the wind whipping past his hair, but then you see his body start slowing down a little as he starts going into the darkness of the hole.
Okay.
Other drow, seeing that one run, they dive into their respective holes. The others, I think it was just the 3 that were left. Checking the field. Yeah, that's it. So they will dive into the hole. Jules, you're up.
How does the house Carl look? And is this Trog dead?
That Trog is still alive, actually. Housecarl does
Did he
not
kill
look
the
good.
Fireball?
He was out of the range of the fireball.
Okay. I will cast Cure Moderate spontaneously again.
Okay.
If I delete another spell off my available casts. And then I will fly over to the house, Carl.
Okay. What's your range for flight?
60 feet.
Okay. Yeah, you easily clear it.
Yeah. And I will heal him.
Right.
I will do so. In doing so, I will attempt to embrace him, and try to put myself between him and the troglodyte.
Okay. Yeah. We'll put you right here just for that purpose. Yeah, you embrace him, turning your back to the troglodyte to sort of shield him as the positive energy flows through him. He lets out a gasp as he sucks in fresh air. One house guard left. He will tend to his lord. The Wardens, seeing that there's no more obvious threats here, this one will move up to here. See the troglodyte, sort of, Imnos, you can hear sort of a suffering sigh of exasperation as a hand comes up right next to your face, and a lance of fire jumps out from it, slamming right into the troglodyte's chest and boring a hole through to the other side, dropping it dead to the ground. No more bards. Lord Hogrundy is going to take care of himself. Kip, the man looks at you. Are you sure that you want to go through there? We have no idea what's on the other side. Shouldn't we wait for your companions?
You know, I'm thinking about it. I think it's a bad decision. It's a dead end, which means it likely leads to the staging point that the drow and their monsters came from. It'd be suicide to go through.
I think we should head back up top and see what's going on with everyone else.
Do you happen to know, did you take that drow's head off?
I think I destroyed its entire
skull
body.
Intact?
When you all ran
Damn.
past, there was no evidence that drow having ever existed.
Would have been nice to have a cleric do a wakey on him to see if he was working with the Bronwyn.
I agree. He holds a hand out to you. If you will.
I'm too exhausted to do anything except for agree.
He grabs your hand, and there is a swirl of arcane energy that envelops both of you. And as it dies down, you are both standing back next to the hole up top.
That was a fucking waste of a spell.
That was a fantastic use of a spell.
Fine.
No, yours.
Burrowmaster,
If we'd gone through, we would have needed your help.
Burrowmaster, seeing nothing exciting going on over there, flies back over here. Quick question for the group at this stage. Is anyone diving into the holes right now?
No.
Okay. Then at this
Thinking
stage,
about it.
we can go out of combat as everything dies down.
Jules will immediately cast Calm Emotions as he tries to keep the Housecarl from looking at his wife. You said she's just charred remains?
Yeah, just a charred corpse at this stage from the fireball. He breaks down even with the calm emotion. Like he just starts breaking down over top of her body. He's not getting violent with it, like he's not going to the extreme, but he's just despondent and sad as he hovers over her body.
I try to comfort him. I'm so very sorry. I couldn't get here fast enough.
He just shakes his head and stays quiet as he hovers over her body. Nothing for him to really do or say in this moment.
Kip,
I
where's Elsara?
think we should wait for the others.
For those of you,
Why
real
don't
quick,
you?
just real quick before we go any further with that conversation, for those of you in the grand ballroom, you watch as the Wardens collect the 2 dead bodies of the Prince Guard and then go away. They don't talk to anyone. They don't engage. If someone tries to talk to them, they completely ignore them unless someone forces them. and that'll be a whole other thing if you guys want to do that. But they grab the bodies and teleport away. And also, we're going to take our break at this stage.
Damn.
So we'll be right back, folks.
Wait, I'm going to sit.
And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for bearing with our little break there. Let's jump right back into it. Fee, you were talking when I interrupted you, so go ahead and pick back up that conversation.
All right. Kip, I know you probably don't want to explain everything twice, but I think given the company that's here, and I just kind of like tilt my head to Fioden, like maybe we should have this discussion once in smaller companies so that everything can get delivered without being interrupted.
I understand your point, but personally speaking, I'd like as many large, imposing people between me and that fucker as possible before I say what I'm about to say. No offense intended, Sir Elf.
Are you talking to Fioden?
Yes.
But
You seem like the right...
He sort of cocks his head.
You seem like the right
unsure.
loyal type.
If it has to do with Alisara, then
out.
I would like to hear it.
I plan on telling you, but... A moment, please. I'll beckon to my raven and be like, just send soothing feelings like, I'm okay, buddy.
He flies
More
down to you.
shinies are going to come, and then I'll give an image of Dunkel and be like, bring him to me. Like, I'm on my ass on the ground with no intention of moving anytime soon.
Okay. Your bird does some stuff.
Okay. So, I think it'd be best if we get everyone here for brevity's sake, and also so no one feels left out of this wild conjecture I'm about to make.
Well, while we wait for everybody, can you at least introduce me to your gazebo friend who dove into a hole after you?
Oh, I have no idea who the fuck this is. I just met him today. But, I've got a few guesses.
He smiles as he looks towards you, Fee. Can't say that I expected this to be where we would be, but my name is Theodosius Moonward. Pleasure to meet you.
Fuck!
I'm Theolarithal, and I just kind of look at Kip over his outburst.
I'll reach into my pocket or my purse, Wade, and pull out a piece of silver and kind of twiddle it between my fingers and look meaningfully at him. Kind of raise an eyebrow.
He reaches out and places a hand on your shoulder. It feels warm. It feels nice, even through your clothing. We should have a private conversation between the two of us after you're done with your friends here, I think.
Why not?
None of our business will have to do with them, I don't think. But I'll leave you all to it. And he will start walking away.
Does anyone know if Dunkel was still inside?
The Burrowmaster sets down, and the wizard, he is flying around the ballroom checking on people. He should be out in a while.
Oh shit, the goblin!
You made
Gibraltar.
stairs? I saw them. They're nice.
He
You
looks
threw him
down
the
the hole.
but there's stairs for him to get back up now.
Gibraltar has a curious
Please tell
mind.
me-
I'm sure he'll enjoy his time down there.
I was going to say, please tell me there's just legs sticking out of the ground at the bottom of the hole.
No, you look down, you can see sort of the spiral stairs that are jutting out of the side of the hole all the way to the bottom, but you don't see anyone at the bottom other than the crater that the hook horror made when it fell in after you.
So, Burrowmaster, you may wish to be present for this conversation, and if you'll allow, I'll reach into my pack and pull out a wineskin. I imagine you've had a day, and I'll offer it to him.
He looks at it with a smile and then reaches out, his hand engulfing the wineskin, and he puts it up and squirts the whole thing into his mouth, and it just disappears.
Give him a thimble.
Hey,
It's
that
adorable.
went about like I thought it would.
I'll
Should
find
we
enough
wait
shot.
for Dunkel, or should I handle that separately?
I think Dunkel's on his way here.
Speak of the devil.
Dunkel sits down
All right,
next to the Burrowmaster.
So,
Of course he does.
some wild conjecture here, but I do have some evidence to support it. I went in after Alasara and the Bronwyn, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like they were being pursued by one of them huge fucks. No, sorry, a drow. I was being chased by one of the huge fucks. Thinking back, I'm not entirely positive they were being pursued. I think they were being escorted.
What do you mean?
We reached the end of a tunnel, dead end, and Bronwyn pulled Alasara, who looked like she wanted to come towards me and had previously told me to run. He pulled her into a teleportation circle. I gave it a good gander, and that was prepared far in advance. That was not something he could have performed in the brief time between me turning the corner and catching up with them. I believe it was the staging point for all the things that came through the ground, because most of those tunnels end in dead ends.
Theoden looks at you. Are you saying Alasara and he had some plan that had to do with all of this?
On the contrary, I don't think she did.
You think it was him?
I think she went along with a familiar face, and I think we'll all agree there's a bit of that going around today. People looking like they oughtn't.
There was one other thing that I noticed, and this seems... I had never met the Bronwyn. Obviously, I've known Alasara for years, and I met you via her good word. So I trust you, and I trust her. I have no reason not to trust the Bronwyn, but we've clearly already seen cases of people not being who they said they were. But when we were passing around that holy sigil that we found in the abandoned tomb, the Bronwyn flinched. Like he subtly recoiled when he touched it, and the paper was moist when he handed it. When you handed it back to me.
Oh, that was probably my fault. Says the Burrowmaster.
Oh. Okay.
He reaches out down to you, Kip. Take my hand, little one.
Oh, why the fuck not? It's a good day to die.
It's gonna be real sweaty.
I'll take his hand.
His hand is ice cold. It is like you just shoved your hand into a snowdrift. As you're holding his hand before he pulls it away. The magic that constructs this form is very cold. I think I might have gotten your sigil a little wet and freezing when he touched it, maybe.
I simulacrum then?
Yes.
That explains how you're here.
You didn't think I'd bring my real form here.
I assumed that there was something going on, otherwise you would have been exiled from your lands, and this seems like a foolish reason to do so.
As fun as this has been this evening, no, I would not challenge my lands for this get-together.
But I still don't know if that would entirely explain his recoiling at the sigil. I wonder if there might have been something else behind that.
Could be. That can only explain the moistness of the paper.
We can reason about that all day. The point of the matter remains that teleportation circle won't remain active forever.
Or are you saying we should go through it?
No, I decided that would be suicide because that's where all of those creatures launched from.
Akka reaches a hand over and pats Kip on the back as we're both very close to the hole.
Possibly.
Fiona, and you didn't have you wouldn't have chanced to have an escape plan pre-planned if shit went awry, would you?
If this was more of a exclusive type of get-together, we would have perhaps been commissioned teleportation devices to leave in case there was an incident. Because this was, and no offense, Lord Hagrundi, because this was such a minor event, we didn't think that such things were required. By the time we were hinted that something more could be happening, there was no time to get the enchanted objects here to us. Me and Alisara had made some base plans if we got separated where to meet just off of the estate, but that's about as far as we planned.
Did the broad one arrive with anyone else?
Kitlindor? Well, he arrived with Alejandra, her contingent. After we were told what we were told, we sent word up through the proper channels. They wanted some more high-level diplomats to be here to represent the Accords. So Kitlindor came with her. They arrived this morning.
I'll look kind of like between him and Dunkel. How fast could we theoretically get word back and forth between the Accords to confirm whether or not that was actually the Bronwyn?
I
know the hold doesn't have anyone there, but they might. I mean, obviously you know magic better than I do, Warden Dunkel.
I could have a message there probably within the next hour, if I needed to, but none of my sources would be able to quickly verify someone as esteemed as Bronwyn. Theoden, he kind of stops as he thinks. Well, we have a way of instantly communicating with them, but I don't. Its power's still recharging. Jules?
Am I anywhere near this conversation? I wasn't sure where it's happening, and it's been going.
So they're all back in the garden. So it would depend on what you did. Jory, he's just going to be unresponsive to you. Like he's clearly breaking right now.
Okay.
But he's not doing anything hurtful to himself or to other people, so you don't feel bad leaving him, right? I mean, there's a lot going on.
I'll put my cloak over his wife's body, so as to be respectful.
Yeah.
And then
otherwise, you can be
I
here.
think I would have come out to the. I'll be approaching at this point.
Well, I didn't count the figures, Dave. That's on me. If you want to say that you want it to be there, Kip absolutely would have waited for the entire party to start.
This is a good time. This is actually a good moment for him to come in.
Okay.
What do you mean about the Bronwyns? Were they here?
A Bronwyn was here, yes, as part of the Accords, but I think that there's a possibility that it might not have been it might not have actually been a Bronwyn. It might have been someone, an imposter.
What was their name? I didn't realize there were any in attendance.
Theoden will pipe up. His name is Kitlindor Bronwyn. Are you familiar with their family?
I've traveled a lot. I may have an inkling of an idea.
Jules, you know that they are a powerful family in the Accords, a noble family. But that's about the extent of it.
Individual.
Yeah. You've definitely never met this guy before.
Can I do knowledge and ability?
Yeah, go ahead and roll it. Anyone who would like to test their knowledge of the Bronwyn family, feel free to roll knowledge and nobility or special bardic, cloistered cleric, dragon knowledge bullshit.
We'll roll all of them.
All right. We'll start with Alara and Jules. So the big thing that you guys know is that the Bronwyn family is high nobility. And when I say high nobility, I mean they are like one step down from the royal family that rules the Accords. They are they're about as powerful as you can get without being pure royalty. And that's because, and everyone who rolled will know this except for Imnos, that they have one of the 5 original elven elders in their family. So there are these Methuselan elves that have lived for so long, since the age of dreams, when people were born into existence, that these elves have seen and lived a million lifetimes. And there's only a handful of them left. And the Bronwyn family is as powerful it is because they have one of them in their family still alive. Akko,
Yep.
you know that the Bronwyn family also has a very exclusive stranglehold on runic enchantments in the Accords. They are a very cutthroat mercantile family also, on top of just having a lot of power, and that's one of their most powerful trade propositions or trade positions.
Okay.
Kip,
Hey,
I know this is a long shot, especially with everything that went on. You might not remember, but did you by any chance look at him to see if he had magic on him?
no. It was, he
Okay.
was out of range the entire time.
Oh, that's
Well,
fine.
no, I did. I almost went blind when I looked at the Barrowmaster, but
He checked the entire table.
I did.
Make an
Did he-
intelligence check, Kip.
Will do.
Grade PM.
$15.
15. You remember roughly what Kit Lindor had on him. He had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alara. Go ahead.
Do you believe that he may have had anything on him to disguise his identity?
Let me think on it for a moment. I'm trying to
Okay.
piece together all the auras that I saw.
Okay.
Simple answer, Kip, is he could have. You know that a couple of the items that he was wearing had illusion magic baked into them.
He definitely had some illusory items on him. But to be completely honest, at the time I was focused on the toy horse that the drow lad was toting around.
Okay. I'm going to say the thing no one really wants to hear, but there is always the chance that this was the Bronwyn.
Aye.
That it wasn't under disguise, that there is a chance that someone in that family did have a hand in this. And we need to operate under both the suspicion that there was an infiltrator and that there was not.
Angarathan would never have allowed this to happen.
I can tell you for certain that teleportation circle was prepared by an arcane caster of the pinnacle of their ability.
Yeah.
Lord Hagrundi, who's been standing here listening, are you saying that the House of Bronwyn led an attack force of the underground to attack my home in Gala.
We are saying
what I'm
nothing
hearing?
for certain. We are
Absolutely
saying
not.
nothing for certain.
With
Lord
all due
Hagrandi.
respect, Lord Hagrandi, I think it's equally possible that Kiplander Bronwyn is dead, and someone assumed his shape and form to infiltrate this gathering.
What about all of them? He points at the drow that are sort of behind him, laying dead. Are they a different form, or is that what they actually are?
I believe they would have reverted upon death unless their forms are disguised by magical trinkets, and I would be happy to check that for you once this conversation has concluded.
Ilara turns to Hagrandi. The look on her face is unabashed, seething rage towards him. We can address that perhaps after we address the situation of Yolanda Graves.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we want to mention that the head maid tried to kill the prince?
What?
Yes, Yolanda drew a blade, likely poisoned, to attempt to kill the prince, which reminds me, and I will look around for any members of the prince's guard, because I think I saved one. I don't know if he got to teleport out.
You did save one. He did teleport out.
She was more than the head maid.
Yeah, the wardens took the guards.
So she was more than the head maid. She was, for all intents and purposes, his major domo. She managed the house.
Which is why I'm not calling you liars, but she's been impeccable. She's been perfect in my employ.
How long has she been in your employ?
6-7 months. She came highly recommended.
That was 3 years ago.
Who recommended her?
I can't recall right now. The evening is taxing me.
She was either an infiltrator or she was replaced by one.
Hold on, Wade. I would like to sense motive on Hagrandi right now as he's dodging the fucking question.
Yeah.
Roll them bones.
I have a different action.
Fuck you.
I have a different action when
He's
you have
being
a
real
chance,
sus right now.
I would also like to point out that she was a drow.
Okay, let's pause. Let's pause talking. We'll do rolls. Kip, what are you doing?
I'm scanning for invisible people to the extent of my vision because I'm fairly convinced we're being watched.
Okay. So first off, you don't see anything invisible at all, period. Everyone, we got 28, 15, 21, 17. Lord Hagrandi looks genuinely taxed by this event. Like he's been hurt. For all intents and purposes, his entire house is destroyed. His entire gala has been fucked up. Several nobles have been killed. He looks like a man who has had a stone dropped on him. Alara, you and Fee in particular would know that Lord Hagrandi, unless he can find a way to, and I'm talking masterfully, spin this, he is fucked. His life is ruined right now. He is standing on the ashes of his nobility. He's not in a good place. You think he's genuine in his response?
Okay, so he is not dodging the question of who suggested Yolanda Graves to him.
He is not dodging the question from you. He looks like he genuinely doesn't know in this moment. On top of that, you're just catching something else that you Alara, you picked this up with your 28. He looks like he can't even connect to the event itself of him being suggested Yolanda. Like he's trying to remember something, but he looks up into the right, and you're like, oh, that's a micro expression of trying to remember a specific event, but there's no recollection. Like there's nothing that he's attaching to in that memory, and so he thinks that he's just taxed. Like he seems genuine though.
Lord,
She was capable of casting teleport, so I'm sure she probably wiped his memory.
Yeah, I'm assuming, or compelled.
Lord
Sorry.
Hagrundi, I understand that this evening has been very taxing for you. However, given the circumstances, and I just kind of spread my arms around me and gesture in every direction, I'm sure you understand that if you're going to find any way to have things come out in a beneficial situation for yourself, it would behoove you to help us determine who is responsible for this so that the blame does not fall at your doorstep.
I can't imagine Yolanda doing this, but if you say that she did, perhaps it was someone wearing Yolanda's face.
A moment, please. Wait, I'm going to try to remember because I scanned her as well. Did she have any active illusion enchantments on her when we first met her?
No, she did not.
With respect, Lord Hargrandi, if you have any surviving members of your staff, I would encourage them to search the premises quite cleanly. I think it may be likely that you'll find the body of Yolanda somewhere.
Did she live on your quarters, or did she live elsewhere?
She had quarters here. He looks at the two guards at his sides and he says, well, get to it, go. And they jump and run away to go search the grounds.
Especially if she was not prone to leaving before such large engagements, they likely didn't wish to try to spirit her body away.
With your permission, my lord, perhaps we might search her room, her quarters, and see if there's anything there that might give us some type of insight.
Yes, we can make it available to you. If it's not crushed under stone with the rest of my house.
Wade, who is that one of the wardens, or who is that?
That's Warden Dunkel.
It's Dunkle Daddy.
That's
Dunkel
Dunkel.
Daddy.
You've heard them mention Dunkel. I think this is your first time. Oh no, maybe you met him in the.
I met him at the
obelisk.
I'm going to walk around Hagrundi. I'm going to walk around Hagrundi and approach him. It is imperative that myself or another expert healer see to the prince. The spell I cast only delayed the poison. A truly skilled assassin, their poison would either last longer, as possible they even embedded something in him with the blade.
He's been transported back to the royal palace in Scalanor. He is being tended to by the royal physicians and healers.
They need to know that it's only a delay to the poison. He was not cured.
He brings his hand up around his mouth, and you hear him start whispering into his palm, and then he moves his hand away, and you see these sort of glittery, etheric dust mites float away from him as he casts a spell.
Spellcraft.
Yeah, roll spellcraft.
Because that was pretty.
Sending.
Yeah.
Jules, no clue. Fee, no clue.
Dave knows.
Dakota has a pretty good idea what it is, but
Kip,
she's in the dark.
Kip will
They're
just
aware
reach
now.
out silent. Kip will reach out silently to Dunkel and just offer him a fist bump, and then whether he takes it or not, go back to his spot.
He shakes his head at it. I have failed today. I don't know what magic they used, but when the darkness fell over the gazebo, and he sort of like nods off to the gazebo, and you guys look at the gazebo, you actually see Gazebo Daddy there, like surrounded by the women that were hiding. He's just sort of like lounging in a chair as they're surrounding him, talking to him. He looks very like comfortable.
Is he being fawned after by beautiful women?
Yeah, he is actually.
Is he being?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Despite everything that just happened, he somehow made it very comfortable over there for all of them.
It would figure the Gazebo Daddy would be at his greatest power in the gazebo.
Warden Dunkel, you mentioned that
senior year.
Warden Dunkel, you mentioned that you were sent to another plane. Do you have any idea where you might have been sent? That's what you told the Burrowmaster, at least.
Surprised you could hear that. Yes, I was transported to Sigil.
Crocodiles have very good hearing.
Sigil, if you all aren't familiar, is a crossroads plane where other planes converge. Akko, you've heard the name, you know it's planar related, you just don't know too much about the place. Kip, you've heard the name, you know that it's sort of like the middle of the hub of a wheel. It's where planes all seem to merge together in one uniform place. It is incredibly powerful location of magic and coming together of the realms almost. Jules, you have no clue.
They sent you to the confluence and you were able to get back? That's
I don't think
impressive.
they counted on the fact that I knew a way back from there. I've traveled there before. A friend of mine is a horizon walker, and I've visited the place before. If I had never visited, my return would have taken months. But I had a deal in place. Clearly they didn't study their target before sending him there.
There's work to be done, and if I know anything about goblins, he's already examining that circle and may have a full report for the Burrowmaster.
Perhaps we should go check on Little Gibraltar. And he hops into the hole and descends.
Jules comes over to this couch and sits down on it, basically crashing on it, looking completely and utterly defeated. The look of devastation is over his face. You haven't known him that long, but you've never seen him this upset.
This was clearly very well prepared.
I don't think that there was anything we could have done to prevent this. We weren't given all of the information.
If anything, I think it would have been catastrophically worse had we not been here and learned what we learned.
True. But here's the reason why I still am suspecting more regarding Yolanda Graves, or at least before we got here. She was the one who put out the ticket with the adventuring guild.
I don't understand why. What was the purpose in recruiting us?
Because Hagrundi needed to hire extra security. But the problem is, it's for the fact that we were able to see it means it was geared towards the
less experienced,
the greenest of adventurers.
Shut up.
That, I imagine, was her intention as well. She didn't expect us to survive those. Or
No.
at the very least, not to be able to make a substantial difference.
I don't know about everyone else, but with the diplomats and individuals present here today, that they knew would be present here today, I wouldn't be cheap on my security.
No.
Good chance that Lord Hagrundi might not be aware how green we are.
It has nothing to do with what he is aware of. It's when you make the request with the Adventuring Guild, you have different levels in which for who it is open up to. The fact that it was opened up to us at all.
Right. You misinterpreted what I said. She intentionally put the advert in for less experienced adventurers. I guarantee you she told her boss that she hired top-notch security.
Yes.
No, I concur. I expect Hagrundi is a victim here.
I believe that, but I also believe that this situation regarding Miss Graves's involvement here is also concerning. I don't think he is malicious. I do think that he made foolish decisions.
V, I am mildly offended that you don't think that we count as top-notch security.
Would you care to take a look around at what happened during this party?
I threw myself down a hole.
We're all fine, though.
I think you all may be underestimating yourselves. The Crown Prince lives because of your actions.
I'd also like to point out that, as far as I'm aware, everybody on Team Garden was still alive. So...
There's a dead elf right here.
Is that an elf?
Yes.
Oh. He wasn't sitting at the table, so...
No one liked that elf anyway.
Frankly, it's not a competition.
Conjecture aside, I think that one thing we can all agree on is whoever orchestrated this was a degree and a level of planning and precision beyond the pale.
The power involved in the moving pieces of this project are considerably beyond us. That much is clear.
But we were right about one thing, that the Star Chasers would have been nothing more than a distraction. In fact, they may have been a distraction against us to keep us from finding the real threat.
Clearly, they thought that door would take longer to get through than it did.
So,
That door wouldn't have lasted.
In determining who's responsible and individuals being who they say that they were, Lord Hagrundi has said that he will make Ms. Graves' apartments available to us to search. Fiona, you said that there was a way to verify Kitlander's verify communication with him.
Yes.
Almost instantaneously, but it needed to recharge.
Yes. Couple more hours still before the magics will be available again. We used them late last night after our meeting. For a callback to the Accords. So a couple hours and I can exchange some words with them.
Once you do that, would you be willing to, I mean, I understand it's late and you probably want to get out of this mess and into a bed, but can you get contact with me when you're able to verify that?
Of course. I'm more interested in going down this hole, to be honest with you, if this is where Alisara went down. I was given the duty.
Safest time to do it.
He nods and he starts going down the stairs. Again,
I'll
while she got the stairs
turn
created, there is some space between these stairs, so he kind of nimbly starts skipping down the stairs to get to the bottom of the hole.
As he starts descending, I'll direct him to the turns we took.
He waves at you.
Warden Dunkel.
Yes.
Far be it from me to suggest that you dip into your personal currency, but if you are indeed friends with the Horizon Walker, would it be possible for someone of that expertise to trace the approximate destinations of the various teleportation effects that occurred tonight?
Easily, I would imagine. It's one of their primary skill sets. I don't know where he is, or if he's even on this plane of existence currently. It's been a few moons since I last spoke to him. I can attempt to get a hold of him, but I doubt we would get him here this evening.
Hey,
A suggestion, Warden Dunkel.
Yes.
You may want to go with them down there to observe said teleportation circle and verify what Kip described.
Oh no, I'm
Something that
I'm a few
powerful, I
steps
imagine,
behind.
would be in your interest.
Yes.
Excellent.
I am taking a moment to weigh the stones that are going to fall on all of us coming soon once word gets out about all of this. No one is going to be happy with the fallout from tonight. No one.
Nor should they be. This was terribly bloody.
Everyone's going to point a finger.
if I might,
I want you all to be prepared for that.
if I might,
Yes, Kip.
I'd like to offer a suggestion. Perhaps keep word of the prince's disposition quiet for as long as possible. Mayhap even speak to the royal family and see if they would be willing to engage in a wee bit of deception. And let it be known that the prince did not survive his wounds.
You want to try to flush them out with false information?
I think as many paths as we can cover as possible would be the best option at this point.
I think telling them that the prince didn't survive is potentially a mistake because it will potentially offer up openings for people who are completely uninvolved in this. However, if you simply keep him in a state of suspended injury, you may buy yourself time to get more information.
Plus, they might make another attempt on him, in which case, another chance to catch them.
I don't think they'd make an attempt in a royal palace.
I can forward the thoughts to my superiors. I don't have much voice in the courts in how they act and serve.
Yes,
However,
I don't think.
I want to finish my thought quickly that I was saying before. Everyone is going to point a finger here. I'm going to have several fingers pointed at me. Kip, I may not be reachable for a time. Many people saw me do what is here, regardless of the fact whether it was me or not. A finger will be pointed at me, and suspicion will fall on me. It will carry with me for a while. Everyone is going to be suspicious in this. You all, the Accords, the Undersenate, the Imperium, they're all going to blame each other. You Swing Coalition is apparently involved in some shape or form. There are so many actors on this field. Be prepared is all I can warn you all to do. I'm not sure what help I can be.
I have to imagine that's part of whoever orchestrated this wanted.
Most assuredly. Lady Alara, you were going to say something?
Regarding falsifying the prince's fate in one direction or another, it is not our decision. The prince is at the royal estate. That is a royal decision regarding their intelligence. It's not something we can have a sway in one way or another. On top of it, Warden Dunkel, I do appreciate all of the assistance you have given us today. For what it is worth, and I am sure at this point it is not, we know that you were not responsible.
Well, for all we know, that could be the very edge that I need to not have the gallows be my destination after today.
I can only speak for myself, but if you do need a word in your defense, I will be there for you.
Is appreciated.
Seconded.
Well,
I
I'm
did,
going
in fact,
to...
watch as you reappeared and attacked the false you. So
That's even better.
I mean,
the hold will launch their own investigation into my actions and my inactions and the actions that they thought that I took. I have no doubt that they will come to all of you and want to see your memories of this evening. Anyone who saw me and what I was doing will be helpful in many, many ways. Well, I will leave you all to your
I was in a hole.
To your discussions. I'm going to go down into this hole and take a look at this this magical circle, and then he jumps into the hole.
I hope he doesn't slip and fall about 100 feet down the tunnel. I think I pissed myself at some point.
We should go look into Miss Graves's rooms.
Wade, I'm going to quick scribble something on a note and hand it to my raven and then gesture towards Theodosius and kind of project the image of him.
Again, you aren't capable of projecting images to your raven telepathically. You can only project emotion. But he sees you looking at Theodosius, and so he'll happily take the message over.
I fully expected him to give it to one of the girls instead of him, but I figured I'd try the psychic image anyway.
All right. I'm going to group you guys here real fast. Are you all going to Miss Graves's apartment? Is that where you all would like to go?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Somebody will need to grab Jules, but yes.
I think Wade's just going to collectively move us.
Yes. Theodem does not go with you.
Needs to get
Imnos will go offer him a hand.
All right. You guys are there. Should have dragged you over.
Oh, there was.
You all will be led by a guard over to the room. This place is much like the rest of the estate is collapsing in on itself. You can see where a hook bast through several walls here. You can see across the other garden where another guard and his mastiff lay dead. This place is a train wreck, but he says this is Yolanda's personal quarters.
Is there a desk?
There is an upturned
Anything
desk.
that looks like it would have been a desk?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna search through it.
Alara?
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll my perception. I'm just gonna roll my perception. I know everyone's gonna roll their perceptions. I'm just rolling mine.
Yeah, go ahead and roll your perceptions if you're looking around, folks.
Jules is still in too much shock to really get involved in anything.
Okay.
I'm just going to sweep with Detect Magic because my perception is shit, but I can spot glowing objects.
Okay. Got 28 from Imnos. That's the high runner right now.
No, I had a 30.
No, Fee got a 30.
But I had a 30.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't look up. Yeah, 30. Killing it tonight, Fee, on the perception checks. All right. If that's
got
all of the
eyes.
Perception checks. Together, you all collectively are able to find a couple of things. First off, you're able to find an enchanted lockbox that is, it's been thrown across the room underneath a bed that was likewise thrown across the room, upturned. You can also, in the fireplace, you see several burnt pieces of parchment, but one of them, a corner piece of the parchment is still there, unburnt, kind of, burnt along the edges. But you can see what appears to be the sigil of the Uswain Coalition.
Knowledge, nobility.
there's nothing really to roll here. It's just you all know what this
Okay.
sigil looks like. Like it's a pretty prominent
Okay.
sigil of a nation, so you know what it looks like.
Okay.
And then the
Sorry,
lockbox,
remind
like
me
I
what
said.
the Uswin Coalition
Yeah.
is again, because I forget.
That was more
Yeah,
where I
that's
was
why
at.
I wanted to roll. I was like, can we know what the Uswain Coalition is?
Sure, I thought that we kind of covered that a little bit a couple sessions ago, but it's been a while.
Pirate faction?
So no, it's not. So give me knowledge nobility rolls, everybody. If you have knowledge nobility, roll it. Okay. So first off, if you are from the Accords, you know what I'm about to say, regardless of what you just rolled. Otherwise, with the collective knowledge you guys are pulling together, the Uswain Coalition is a collective of nations in the Underdark. It is made up of troglodyte tribes, drow cities, Snurfnelblin, and other Underdark factions that have essentially formed themselves into this very loose collective of cooperating nations. They aren't ruled by any one centralized government. They work together. And they essentially make up the largest nation that exists in Faroff, because they collectively make up all of the Underdark except for the sections that the Under Senate control. That is what you all know about the Uswain Coalition. Some of you may know a little bit more based on some backstory stuff that I gave you at the beginning of the game, just a reminder. But that's what you all know right now.
So I mean that would totally make sense then with the drow and the trogs involved.
Yeah. While there are drow in, say, for instance, the Accords, while there are trogs in the Under Senate, so many collectively together, working cooperatively, just screams Uswain Coalition.
So it looks like she was definitely in contact with the people who attacked us.
So it would appear.
I'll tell you again, she was a drow. I could see it in her eyes when she was casting.
It's a shame she took that dagger with her.
On the surface, I would, on the surface level, it would make sense that the coalition as a whole was behind this act, which is a hell of a fight for them to pick.
So is there anything in the lockbox, or have we not opened it yet?
You all haven't investigated it at all.
Who wants to open that lockbox?
Give it here.
Wait, let's have Kip look at it first.
Oh my god. Kip?
I'll go like steps away.
Yep, I'm also gonna step away.
I'm just
So-
examining it to see if I can identify the schools.
Spellcraft.
Yep.
Abjuration and enchantment.
Okay, so well, I can only think of one thing that would be. So he puts it down and backs away from it. It's enchanted, obviously, but there's a abjuration on it. The only thing I could think to put on a chest would be an explosive rune. So I'm gonna go stand over in this far corner.
What is that, Jules?
I'm healing myself before I attempt to open this.
Gotcha.
Hey, Jules, can I have some of that healing too?
Oh, fuck it.
Give me the box. And everybody should probably clear from the room.
Do you want me to just like try to force it?
I
can
don't
take a
think-
little bit more damage than you.
I've opened traps of this lot before.
Okay.
Hey, Wade.
Yeah.
Kip's gonna flip over the table
Okay.
and then hide behind it.
I'm gonna hide with Kip.
Akko's gonna also hide with them.
I'm gonna be over here on the other side of the wall.
Wait, this is very important. Is there anything on the table before I flip it over?
No, this entire place is a mess. Like
Okay.
ink vials are smashed, papers flung all over the place, personal knickknacks are strewn.
I was going to try to whip off the tablecloth without knocking over anything on the table, but I look disappointed when there's nothing on it and just kick the damn table over.
Okay.
I am going to attempt to locate any sort of magical traps.
Perception, please.
And can I have advantage because Kip's told me essentially there is one there.
There's no advantage in 3.5.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, I will give you a +2 to the roll, though.
Hey,
So 29?
Nice.
29.
29. Yes, it is in fact trapped. You can see that along the hinges there are some very tiny runes that have been carved into the metal.
Okay.
You feel like you could disable the power of the trap by disrupting the runes in a very precise way, if you would like to, with a disable device check.
Okay. I would like to do exactly that.
Okay.
25.
God damn.
You pull out your tools and you very methodically start adding small curves to the runes to displace the power from each individual rune line until eventually there's this flashy static of red energy in each of the runes and it fizzles. You feel very confident that you have disabled the trap. It's still locked, but
Did you guys know that our cleric was a sneak thief?
Kip is looking through a pile of scrolls and just glaring at Akko while Jules continues.
I don't know what you're talking about, Akko.
Laura just like holds her hand in her head like everyone is a sneak thief apparently in some way, shape, or form.
If anybody who is watching Jules do this, you just hear him keep on saying Maureen, Maureen, Maureen the entire time he is doing it.
I'm not a sneak thief. I'm an archdemon.
if you would like to pop the lock, you can do a disable device.
All right.
While he's doing that, Kip looks at two scrolls that Akko gave him with Backbiter scribed on them and just stares daggers at him.
Well, no, I messaged you on Discord about that. I never would have given to you in the first place because I thought they
Okay.
were transmutation when I wrote them down.
I'm gonna take them off my list.
Yeah.
All right. So
I use my journal
Jules,
reroll.
yeah. So the you start fiddling around with the lock. For a moment, your lockpick catches the side and won't budge, but you rotate the other one and pop it open. As you open up the lockbox, the first thing that you're going to notice is that it is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
Free bag of holding.
You inside in the depths of this thing, you can see clearly a pile of gold. First off, you also see an assortment of other various items. So let's do some random treasure, everybody.
Weirdest thing, guys, empty box, you know.
I'm gonna go to the workhouse. No reason.
Peace.
Question. If I cast Horde Gullet and then eat the box, do I explode?
Yes. Yes, you do. That's it. You do.
But what a way to go, Akko. What a way to
Roman
go.
smash, here I come.
Jules will take
And
the
Akko's
open
replaced by a
box,
sphere of annihilation.
fix the table, set it in front of everyone, and walk away.
Kip immediately starts sniffing the air. He's like, Akko,
Treasure. I
do you
smell gold.
You smell that?
I smell gold. Can
All
I
right.
Scrooge McDuck into the box?
No, it is so think of like maybe a 1 foot by 2 foot
Don't tell him
block
that.
box.
Don't give him dimensions. He can get around that.
Yeah, 1
Yeah,
foot
I
by
mean-
2 foot.
Akko's like 4'9", so I'm pretty sure he could.
Anyways, let's do some rolls here. So first off, there is 4,000 gold pieces in this box.
Hot damn.
Let's just start from the top. Alara, roll a dice 6 for me.
Eh.
All right. Now roll a D100 for me. 83. Higher is always better.
Unless it's a deck of many things.
All right. Alara will pull out a pair of boots.
Neat.
All right. Next up, Jules, roll a die 6. Three. 1, 2, 3. All right. Roll a D100. 68. Roll another D100, please.
65.
You pull out a short spear. Imnos, roll a die 6, please.
5.
5. 1, 2, 4, and 5. Roll a D100 for me, please.
22.
You pull out a rod. An iron rod is pulled out
Oh,
of the
no.
chest.
Akko, straight
Akko.
drooling.
Akko, roll a d6 for me, please.
Akko wants to pull a rod out of the damn thing too.
Give me a nightstick, Akko. Get me a nightstick.
3. All right. Akko, roll a die 100. 28. Roll another die 100. Ooh, 92. Roll again for me, please. And roll it one more time.
Oh my god.
It's going
The
crazy. on that.
92 is
no.
very important. All right, so 36. All right, so is that, and then 25.
It's gonna be like Diablo 2, where it's got like 10 different adjectives, like the sharp club of the bony whale.
All right,
Right.
got it. Fee, give me a die 6 roll, please.
What did I pull out?
Oh, you pulled out a chain shirt.
While people are doing this, Wade, Kip's just going to sit on a stool that's mostly whole and put on his monocle and wait.
Oh, well, actually, I completely forgot that you have the monocle. Just roll spellcraft for me real fast here, Kip. And I can just tell
Sure.
you guys what these things are. I completely forgot about the
one-
monocle.
Well, I assumed we would do it in downtime.
No, this is fine. Yeah.
One roll
Yeah,
or
just
for
one.
everything?
Just one.
Okay.
Roll really high. Can I
I-
assist?
I'm remembering what I rolled for this
Yep.
D6.
You guys 6.
Yes.
Hot damn.
Oh, nice.
Perfect.
Ah,
Even better. All right. So, John,
What the
go from the
fuck?
first thing for me, please.
boots.
Boots of striding and springing.
Nice.
Nice. Joel.
Oh yes.
Joel.
Short
Yeah.
spear.
Joel, buddy.
I'm very very happy about the existence of these things.
Plus 1 short spear.
I'm actually just gonna toss the boots at Emnos immediately.
I'm just gonna like throw boots at Imnos.
Rod.
Immovable rod.
Oh,
I knew it was.
You
I
do
could
some
do
weird shit
so
with
many
that.
things with
Wade
that.
loves those stupid things.
They're amazing.
chain shirt.
The single best magical item in the game.
+1 glamored chain shirt.
Ooh.
Who wears a chain shirt?
Just to tell you guys what glamour does real fast. Glamored suit of armor with this ability appears normal. Upon command, the armor changes shape and form to assume the appearance of a normal set of clothes, but retains all of its abilities. So basically, you can look like you're not wearing armor while wearing this armor.
Pretty nice.
Hymnos
Yeah.
wears a chain shirt for what it's worth.
As does Kip.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Now, what
All
did
right.
Fee pull out?
So she got a 6, right, Fee?
Yes.
All right, roll a die 100 for me. This can get crazy really fast.
Oh, no.
All right. Ring of Protection +1.
All right.
What's wrong with it?
I was gonna say you could use your reroll.
Not
I
on
already
these. You
used my
cannot.
reroll. I
You
also
cannot
already
use it
used
on
it.
these.
That's fair.
You can use the Fate dice on this. I will say. I will let you guys use Fate dice on this if you want to.
Fuck
Oh my
you,
God.
Wade.
We should have used that on the 92.
We know
We
what
should've
you're
used it on the
about.
spear.
It could not have gotten any better with the 92 because he got the get a special ability plus roll again. Like it doesn't get better than that for the 92.
That's a good point.
The spear would have been the thing to reroll possibly, but
All
Is
right,
it
so those
Kip's turn to pull
Coda.
something?
Yep, Kip, give me a D6.
Roll another 5.
That one. All right. Kip, give me a die 100 roll, please.
We all knew that was coming. Like, who's surprised?
roll a 1. Roll a 1. 1
Roll a 1.
Roll a 1.
72. Check that. I'm on the wrong table. That's why that should not have been that. Okay, cool. I'm glad I didn't say that out loud.
No takesies backsies.
Right. You pull
Why
out.
is it cooler than the other thing? Because pick the cooler thing.
No, because the cool thing was way too much for this level.
No, it's not.
Was it a greater rod of empower?
No. Anyways, you pull out a Iron Stone spindle. Basically, a creature with it does not have to have food or water.
Well, hell yeah. I love those things.
Gaspin has one of those.
He does have one of those. So yeah, you find those 6 items plus 4,000 gold pieces.
Oh man, this is a great start.
And the
Um,
chest.
And the
Yeah,
chest.
and the chest.
Yeah. So the chest functions as a. Let me double check it. Where is it? Pop up. There it is. The chest functions as a bag of holding type 1.
Nice.
Get somebody to toss some straps on that, and Akko's very happy.
Taco's new home.
Yeah, we put all the gold in it, and then I jump in, and you guys just need to let me out before the 10 minutes is up.
Just run a hose in and out of it.
We're just gonna get you a snorkel, dude.
Well, yeah. Wait. Here's the question. That Ironstone. Do you also need it? Will also cover air?
No, it does
It's a
not.
different
damn,
iron
that's
stone.
bullshit. 'Cause then we'll never get Akko out of that chest.
So that is
The
what you
genie of
all.
Get him a
Box.
bottle of air.
That is what you all are going to find inside of Yolanda's quarters. Otherwise, there's nothing else in here other than some ledgers for the house. Nothing that looks incriminating appears to be here.
Can I make a recommendation about one of the items?
Mhm.
Granted, I might be a bit biased, but unlike the rest of us, Fee can't wear metal armor of any kind. So perhaps the ring to her?
I think that's a great idea.
That makes sense to me.
I mean, I would prefer to give it to the dog, but I don't think it'll fit.
Well, seeing as Luna doesn't have fingers.
We could probably fix that.
No!
Nope. Nope. Don't like that.
Why don't we just protect Fee?
But, I mean, the rest of it is handy, but, I mean, I'm content that we found anything at all. I'd check back in the box, Wade.
Yeah.
And, I mean, is it empty, or is there something that didn't scream treasure that we didn't see?
Nope. Everything that it appeared to just be a sort of hoard of wealth that was kept here in this box. Various items. None of the items, just so you guys know, someone give me an appraisal roll. None of these items really look like they go together. Like, they don't form an ensemble. True, the glamour chain shirt could really ensemble anything, but like, nothing here looks like it was made for just one person. This looks like things from various people, maybe.
Like maybe stuff that an assassin took from their marks.
How about that?
Hey, Wade,
Yes.
is there a chest of drawers somewhere?
Yeah, there's one that's knocked over.
I'm gonna open it and dig to the bottom. Can I find an article of clothing?
Sure, you find some panties.
Of course I fucking did. Luna!
Luna runs over.
Luna! I'll hold it in front of her.
She looks at Fee.
Luna, find.
Luna track.
Luna
She
will...
teleported. It's not gonna.
I'm not convinced that was her. That's why I dug to the bottom of the drawer. If her body's hidden somewhere on the premises, maybe Luna can find it.
She was here for 6 or 7 months. I imagine it was really her.
And Grundy cannot remember how he hired her.
Long story short, Luna will sort of chase her tail running around the estate, but she doesn't uncover a dead body anywhere.
I was hoping that would be the case.
She also touched everything and was in every place in this house. It's.
I'm aware. I was just hoping that we'd find a body, as harsh as that sounds.
What benefit would that have? I'm curious.
Well, for one thing, it would further strengthen the defenses of all the innocent people that were present, because we would be able to prove without a doubt that there were doppelgangers killing and replacing people.
But first off, we have this letter that proves that she was involved with the Uswing Coalition. Second off, if the Wardens or whomever conducts Dunkel's trial has any way to go into your memories, I saw with my eyes what happened between Dunkel and the Dunkelganger. So
I was in a hole.
I know. Thank you for that. So hopefully between those two things, we can at least figure out what was going on and clear the names of anyone who might be wrongly accused of those things. I think we need to show this letter to Lord Grundy, who I believe is standing right outside the door right now.
Hey, Fee.
In fact, when Fee says that, you all do see Lord Hagrundy sort of standing there a little despondent. He's holding a sack in front of him. So was there anything to uncover my treacherous assistant?
Unfortunately.
I'll hand him the letter.
He looks at the corner piece. This may go away towards it. Anyway, I don't want to keep you here. And he puts the bag into your hands, Fee. Just by feeling it, you can tell that it's coin. The future of my house is probably set at this stage, but I won't have it be said that the Hagrundi do not pay their debts.
I have a feeling, given the nature of things, we will probably not be traveling too far too soon, unfortunately. And hopefully we can do what we can to make sure your name at least doesn't get drugged through the refuse.
I appreciate that. I am going to have a drink and then hopefully get some sleep in some room of this broken home. Good evening. And then he turns and starts walking away.
Did he give me the letter back, Wade?
Yeah, he would have handed it back.
Okay.
Hey, Wade.
Yep.
I'm looking in the fireplace. Sometimes with burned parchment, you can still see bits and pieces of letters, or is this all ash?
It's all ash. Yeah, that was what you all were able to recover looking through the fireplace with your collective perceptions.
I'm gonna Arcana. I know it's a long shot, but would mending potentially work to reconstruct some of that letter?
No,
The one that I'm holding?
not mending spell.
Yeah.
Yes, the one that you're holding.
There are some much more powerful spells that are good for putting things back together the way they were, assuming that this was not burnt with.
I'm gonna go back to the inn.
I think that's a good idea. We got payment for what it's worth. Hopefully I'll hear back from Fioden tomorrow morning, and we can decide what we want to do from there.
He actually walks through the hole in the wall first and gives the dog's neck a good hard ruffle. You were a good dog. Good dog.
The best dog.
I think that's what we're going to call it for tonight.
No, Akko wants to hold out his hands and give me the gold.
I just hand the bag to him and start walking out the door.
Put it in the box, you fucking munchkin.
I gotta count it first as we're walking away.
Akko, it's going to be 1,500 gold pieces, 1,000 for the contract, 500 for the, the hazard pay. Clearly, the hazard conditions were met. So like I said, that's what we're going to call it for the evening as you all start making your way back to your inn for the evening. That was the Solstice Gala. I hope it was worth the build-up over the last couple of months.
Who's going to ask? Because it's not going to be me. Katie, you're a sadist.
Do it.
This is bullshit.
All right. Everyone who's watching, thank you for tuning in. Highly appreciate it. Tune in next week on Tuesday for Dragon Horde. There will be no Realms of Faroff next week on Thursday. We are migrating. Oh, Dave? You're muted.
You're muted.
No Dragon Horde on Tuesday.
Okay.
Critical plot element will not be there.
Okay, so no games next week. Next time you check in Realms of Faroff, we will be on Foundry Virtual Tabletop. So it'll be a new look to the maps and all the things that we can do.
If you're enjoying this
might
show,
be level
though,
6.
several of these players are playing in a different game that will be airing on Friday next week and Friday this week.
Yes, Coda's game will be on Friday this week. If someone wants to throw a shout out up into the chat, feel free to do that for us. But yeah, have a great night, everyone. We'll raid off to another D&D channel. So show some other D&D players some love, and otherwise have a great night and talk to you all soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Lorian.